Hello everybody and welcome. In this video we will be covering the Litematica material list as the title suggests. So let's get right into it. I'm currently in a 1.16.5 world, this is the oldest instance that I have, and this is just kind of to demonstrate that the functionality is the same throughout. So even if you're in 26.1, 1.21.11, doesn't matter, you're going to get the same functionality as in regard to the material list. You can see I have a rather large schematic, multiple blocks here, several thousand blocks, and I'm going to cover a lot of the basics. So say you want to hide an item, you can ignore it in the list. That does not, however, remove it from the actual placement in the world. So it's not going to hide those blocks from visibility in your rendering. There are other methods you would have to use to take care of that. So let's go ahead and clear ignored, clear cache. All right, you have a refresh button up here in upper left, and you can see that it lists material list for placement. I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. You have the show all, and you click it and it'll switch to show rendered layers. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. So M plus P or page up will switch to the rendered layers. I assigned a key to set layer here, and you can see it's currently showing the one rendered layer. So let's go back into my material list, M plus L, and that brings that back up. And if I hit refresh, you can see the list changed, and it's actually significantly shorter because it's only pulling data from that currently rendered layer. So you could use this to isolate layer by layer to gather your materials in smaller portions. That would be one way to use it. Let me go ahead and turn this back to all, refresh, and you can see currently it is usually default sorted by total, which is fine. You can change this. So let me turn on the HUD, and you can see the white stained glass right there. Well, hopefully you can see it. I don't know how that's going to render very well on compressed video, but we can resort this by alphabetical, and you can see that the material list changed in size and everything because it changed the total there. You can change it to missing, which should go back to the totals at this point because they are the same, or by available. And I currently have 192 andesite slabs available. This will be alphabetically, but it will prioritize anything that you currently are holding in your inventory or have already been through. Okay, let's switch this back to total. A lot of people make the mistake, they complain that there are only 10 list items, and they go collect them and they don't see any more of the items. And you can see I have multiple, way more than 10 items. That's why I picked this schematic specifically. So what you would want to do in that regard would be to turn on the hide available. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate what that will do. So currently I have 3 shulkers here. The white stained glass, which is the very top list item because it has the largest quantity, and then hoppers, the next largest quantity item. So if I pick up these shulkers, they should, in fact, go ahead and remove from the list. And let me grab a chest real quick. And now I can place these in a chest. I'll just go ahead and throw everything in there. And everything that I held in my inventory stays off the list. You can see 2 new list items at the very bottom, the stone brick slab and polished andesite, which were not there initially being revealed, are now available to be seen so that you can go list shopping for the entirety of the build before you start building. And that would be one method to utilize that. Or you could use rendered layers like we're still viewing right here. So M plus page down to go in the reverse order of cycling through the layer modes, and it will reveal the entire schematic. Let's go back into the material list here. Let me see, what else do we have? The clear cache, clear ignored, that just resets back-end data. We also have write to file. So let me go full screen here and show full display. This is a lot larger, so it might be harder to see, but I'm just going to go ahead and click write to file, and you can see it created a text file. And if you hover over it, it shows you hold shift to write a CSV file. I'm gonna go ahead and create the CSV file as well. Now in the chat window, you can see that there are lists here, and you can click on these and it should open them directly. Okay, I have open office, which is going to come separated. I'll just do that. And you probably can't see this at all, but you can see that I can just link to the files themselves. But if I go to my launcher, which is currently multi-MC, sorry, you're not going to be able to read this. That's fine. I'm just going to open the config folder and then go into the Litematica folder. And the files that I just created are these two bottom ones right here. The CSV and text file you can't read. Sorry. It's my display. It's a 50-inch 4K display, and I'm only 3 feet away, so I can see it just fine. All right. What else is there? Back to the material list. Oh, if I was out of the chat window. Okay. That looks like everything there. Okay, one other nuance thing. I'm going to switch to a different. So let me go back to this. All right. I'm currently in 1.21.11. You can see in the upper right corner. And I'm at nighttime so that you can see the placement box out in the distance. What a lot of people do mistakenly when they're going list shopping for their items, say their build is far away from their stores, and they go ahead and collect, or they put the placement where they want it, and then they want to run off and grab the materials, but they didn't review the material list prior. When you first put a placement in the world, and if you use the keyboard shortcut M+L, which I'll go ahead into the config, hotkeys, list, open GUI material list, you can see M+L. It will automatically go for the placement that you just put in the world. It'll see if there's a placement and pull that material list. If there is not one there, it's not going to pull anything, obviously. Now, I'm too far away to actually render the current schematic, and that's on purpose. That's intentional. So if I do M+L, well, is that the correct one? Oh, okay. Now you can see in the bottom right corner, material list remaining chunks. So I need to actually load those. A lot of people make the mistake of actually going in and, here, let me, wrong button, remove that. They go into the load screen and then select that same schematic that they just loaded and then click the material list, and they pull up the items here. And then they go back to the build after they've collected their items. And this one's a small enough build that you would be able to kind of manage that so-so. But then while they're building, it's not updating their material list. So currently I just accessed the wrong material list, and partially this schematic is pasted in. You can see how it kind of came in half. The bottom half there is pasted in and the top half is not. I'll go ahead and transparency it so we can kind of tell better, and even turn on that. So you can see that this bottom portion is in the world, the rest is not. Now, if I go into M+L again, and if I scroll through my list, you can see that none of them are listed as having been there. And that's because it's going back to the original list, or the last accessed list, not the original list, sorry. The way to get it back to the list of this placement, you would need to go into the placements, so M+P, Michael Paul, click on configure, click on material list, and now you can see that the highlighted green, those blocks are no longer required. They're already in the build. So let's go with sort by totals, click refresh, and I already demonstrated the rendered layer, so we don't need that. So you can click on info HUD and hide available. Now this one does have more than 10 items, so we can go ahead and use this we can manipulate the appearance of the actual material list. So let's go over that. And we'll do this in the config. You can see I have it on screen currently now. So let's go into the config, go into info overlays. I'm gonna go to list, and you can see the default is 10 lines. I don't think there are 30 items in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and put 30 in here, click away from it. And you can see, yeah, there are at least 30 items, or it's just too big to fit on screen. You could, if you can see it all, there's a item there. That you can, it's off screen and you can't tell what it is. So what we could do is go ahead and we'll change the scale of it. Let's shrink it down to 0.8. There we go. Now we have the full list, and the stone brick and strip dark oak are now being shown. And you could increase the list and be able to see more of it. I don't. That would just be a matter of preference. Who cares? 10 items should be sufficient, but it's just a matter of like how quickly you can access those items from your storage hall, whatever. You can also adjust the offset of the list. So we go in here to, let's go to HUD and look for info HUD offset. There's for the X and the Y. If I change this to 10, click, and you can see it kind of nudged away from there. Let's go 100. So you can, wrong box. Not 1020, you moron. Okay, and you can see it move further away. Some people have complained about not being able to see. They have the sounds in the bottom right corner for, in-game sounds, and it gives you the text readout for what's going on as far as sounds go. Well, you can change the Y offset. Let's change this to 45 to raise it up. And negative numbers would be the reversal, obviously. There's also the info HUD alignment. And right now it's a default of bottom right. Let's go ahead and we can move this by clicking in center, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. You get the point. So you can manipulate where it rides on screen so you can see it, and just a matter of preference for you. I think that just about covers everything nuanced. Now, in the newer version, Sakura added a right to file raw materials, which will create a JSON file that can be used outside of the program for other things that was requested by users. So they added that into the mod itself. Similar functionality. You can hold the Alt key or Shift key. If you mouse over it, it'll tell you what it will do. This is for creating recipe material lists if you've discovered that recipe. So say crafting a bed. If you have a bed in your schematic, you would need to have actually held a bed in your inventory, or the items that are used to construct a bed, so wool and planks, and then you would be able to, it would break down that recipe for you. And I'm in creative. Let's go back to full display here. And let's test this out real quick. I don't know. I'm in creative, so hopefully it will actually do it. I don't know how this is going to play out. No, it didn't break them down per se. I mean, it does give you the spruce door, which should be recorded as a total of, 6 spruce planks, but it didn't break them down for me because I don't have the recipe book, which is fine. But if you have discovered the recipes, you can use that to get a more robust list of materials together if you don't have the items already crafted. That was the intention there. That basically covers everything for this video. I do thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and you have a great day.